Join me today on B2R Investing and Financial Talk. I read a statistic, 94% fail at owning investment property. Few succeed, but many fail. Be one of the few. Be that 6%. We're going to discuss ways you cannot fail in owning long-term buy and hold investment properties. Today, I read an article, it was actually in Bigger Pockets, that said that I think it was 94% of real estate investors fail. And you're asking why. I want to give 4 different reasons why. And if you solve these 4 reasons, I believe you will be within the 6% that succeed. Number 1 is the cost. And I call this the 4 R's. I'll say reserves, but it's the cost. Not factoring in all the cost when you make your real estate purchase. Most everybody counts the cost of principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, but there are other costs involved. You should be saving back reserves for repairs, maintenance, and capital expenditures. Typically, it's 15%. There may be some other costs. It could be a property management cost. But I would say they're not counting all the costs and they're not putting back reserves of 15% for those expenses for repairs, for vacancy, and long-term capital expenditures. Number 2 is rents. And I think that this may be number 1, but it's number 2 in this list. Is they're only wanting to buy properties and that they're looking at it must work with max market rents. It only cash flows with max market rents. Number 1, you should only buy a property that does cash flow. And I would recommend the minimum cash flow you should start at is $250. And I'm looking for a cash on cash return on what it takes with leverage. Only at 70%, it should cash flow $250. And for me, at least a cash on cash return of the down payment of 10%. But they're looking at max market rents. I recommend underwriting your property with low market rents. That's rents at 5% below average, or maybe a few percentage less than that, between 5 and 7%. It should cash flow well at $250 a door at low market rents. I also look at break even. That's with all the expenses included, like we talked about in number 1, at least 15% below market rents. This helps preserve the property and make sure you're successful. The third thing is rates. They should look at rates that are 30-year fixed rate financing, that you control that expense. The beauty of that is over the years, you're paying that because it's a fixed 30-year rate loan, you're paying it back with cheaper and cheaper dollars. Make sure it's fixed rate. The 4th thing I've already talked a little bit about, it's ratio. You should start at a loan to value. You should use leverage, but leverage and debt is a two-edged sword. Too high of leverage, you end up cutting and hurting yourself. Too little leverage, it's not the effective tool. So I say the appropriate leverage to start with, if you're in growth mode, is to start with 70% loan, 30% equity into the project. What I see is a lot of people they have that FOMO effect, fear of missing out, and they jump in, they want to get an investment property, and they buy that investment property before doing their due diligence, having the appropriate buy box. You know what your target market is, what you're going for, you've done your research. You're not trying to jump in and buy the first thing and find out, oh, I didn't count all my costs, I don't know what rents are, I didn't get fixed rate financing, and I was over leveraged. You want to take your time, buy one great property at a time. Using it, built like I've used before, building that fortress around it to protect it, not just for today, not just for this year, but for next decade and for the decades to come. And each property, you build the appropriate fortress around it. Use those 4 R's so that you're not one of the 94% that fail at it. Become a professional investor. Understand how to write contracts, how to write your rents, how to underwrite it at low average rents. You're doing all of these things because I want you to succeed and be that 6% that creates true wealth for you and your family. Till next time.